Shall we begin?
You are now listening to an altogether less fashionable variety of soccer podcast. Broadcasting live from the capital city of Columbus, Ohio. Welcome to
ACES Radio.
I got the new wings with the Zima flavor sauce.
I've given this no thought whatsoever.
Hashtag probably right in cock.
They're in your face. They're a little different. I think it's super cool. I love them. Jamie, you ignorant slut.
Hold on to your butts.
Now, here are your hosts,
Not Morgan Hughes. Rest.
John Zadar and Darby Snarpus.
Greetings, shitlords, edgelords, and bezlords. You're listening to yet another episode of ACES Radio, the podcast that only has one more episode in Mafre Stadium, I guess. Yeah. So welcome. It is December 10th, 2020. We are 537 months into the global pandemic. We are just days away from an MLS Cup, and the Columbus Crew are still playing. But before we get into all of that nonsense, let's get into our own personal nonsense for a while. Brent, buddy, friend, how the hell are you today?
I'm doing all right. December 6th feels like it was about a month ago. So I've just been trying to do whatever I can to keep myself busy and to keep myself from looking at a clock and a calendar waiting for Saturday.
What happened on December 6th? Was it?
December 6th was the day that we won a game and found out that we'd be playing for a cup a week later.
So you don't mean December 6th, 2015?
As far as I can recall, I don't think that day actually happened. I think we just kind of skipped right over it.
Oh, right. That was that year. Okay. Yeah. So
that's actually a reverse leap year. You don't have that day. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
See, that's why you have the leap year in 2016 was because we took that day away.
Right. Exactly.
That's the whole, because it's not actually like 365.25 days. Like once every century or so, you have to do an extra not leap year day. So that was that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying.
Basically, yes.
Okay, sweet. So how have you been distracting yourself, Brent, other than incessant masturbation?
I've been trying some different drink recipes. I've been learning some different Italian dishes. And I started watching the Marvel movies in the order that they were produced.
Oh. Yeah, I saw your conversations, fancy drink Twitter, with I think like Amy Gray maybe and Yvonne and others, and you're mentioning like all of those liquors that fancy people own, like I don't know, Galliano or not plastic
Aperol?
Bottles of vodka, apparently.
Are you talking about the conversation about Aperol?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Alcohol. It's pronounced alcohol, Brent.
Very good, Jeps. Very good.
What dishes have you been working on?
I did a carbonara and a penne alla vodka this week.
So bacon and booze is what I'm hearing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, bacon and booze. It's a great combination. If you haven't done it yet, you should try it. Just to throw that out there for everybody. Try some bacon, try some booze, try them together. It works.
Nice. All right, John, how's life been treating you these days? Are you still masked up and trying to dodge everybody's COVID at work?
I am on the rare occasion that I'm actually there. Business is very bad. And shifts have been cut quite heavily at the bar, so I'm actually looking for something else because I need to make more money. So if anybody knows of anything, let me know because I'm only working 2 days a week now. Yeah.
John, have you looked into prostitution at all?
Darby, I have thought about hooking, yes. The market is not large for my demographic, though.
If you can get one of those horse head masks, I think Drabs might be your first customer.
Oh my God, I hadn't even thought about that. I'd love to milk Darby of his old man inheritance.
Or you'd like to milk me, would you? You'd like to drain me dry,
I mean,
John?
I said very specifically of the inheritance. And not the genetic inheritance, okay? The monetary inheritance.
Oh, shit.
Let me be very specific. Good Lord.
All right. I could also suggest as an alternate option becoming a drug dealer and selling to Murderers Row.
Murderers Row, I think, is typically high on their own supply, so I'm not sure they need a dealer.
I mean, I don't know. It may have, they don't have all their parking lot, traffic going on. They might be a little dry in the supply. You should look into it. I'm just saying.
That's true. Maybe I'll reach out.
All right.
How have you been, Drabby?
Oh, John, it's been a quiet week overall. I did not get gray out drunk on Sunday, which was nice. I kind of enjoyed not being massively hungover the day after a Crew game. Been kind of quiet this week. We did try. I don't think we mentioned it last time. Made gumbo for the first time recently. Trying to also, along the lines of what Brent's doing, trying out new recipes since we're basically constantly cooking at home. Turned out pretty good. Very pleased.
Gumbo's delicious and fairly easy. You just kind of throw a bunch of crap in a pot and then just wait.
Yeah, you basically you get the Holy Trinity and some andouille and some shrimp, and just call it good. It doesn't even take that much in the way of seasonings necessarily. But yeah, very tasty. So it's definitely going into the regular rotation now. I between that and the red beans and rice, I've decided to become an honorary Cajun. Basically, I'm going to start working on the accent. And I'm going to start wearing, what is it, purple and gold, Brent? Is that the LSU colors?
That's LA, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Big-time Cajuns out there, the LA Lakers, formerly the Louisiana Lakers. They moved, John, from back in the day.
Of course, yeah.
Because obviously LA doesn't have lakes, but Louisiana does.
You could keep the black and gold and just become a Saints baby.
Oh, but Brent, you know that I'm a Kansas boy when it comes to the NFLs. Yeah. John and I know where it's at. I mean, literally, we can point out Kansas City on a map to you if you would like. We know where
I do know. Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
John's even been there.
Very familiar with its shape.
Yeah.
What is that, like the southeast corner of Kansas?
No, Bront. It's the west side.
West Side! Oh, I miss Mohammed Saeed.
It's actually not on the west side of Kansas.
Well, it's on the west side of Missouri, I guess. Yeah. It's on the east side of Kansas, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, does Sporting play on the Kansas side?
They play in actual Kansas. That's where the stadium is, yeah.
Yeah, whereas the Chiefs are Missouri boys.
Yeah, I think everything else, all the other Kansas teams are actual Missouri boys.
Yeah,
I distinctly remember passing
the Royals. You mean the Royals? Like that's the only other one, right?
Well, the Chiefs and the Royals. I don't know.
You said every other one, meaning like
there are
except
more
for the
than
Chiefs.
I was meant instead of other than Sporting.
Oh my God!
Yeah, there's the Kansas City Ice Hockey Men. There's the Kansas City Basketballers. They're pretty big out there.
Wait, did you say there are Kansas City Hockey Men?
Yes, yeah, that's the name of the team, the Kansas City Hockey Men.
Okay, like what is the actual team? Because I didn't know they had a hockey team.
I just Googled it. It looks like there's a team called the Kansas City Blades.
It's not an NHL team, is it?
No.
Sure it is.
I don't think so. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
You're a hockey
It sounds like
baby.
Kansas
this
City
sounds like
Hockey
minor league hockey to me. And Drebs,
all right,
nobody
guess
cares
what?
about your minor league.
The Blades may have folded in 2001. Okay, who knows?
Oh, so your minor
no way
league
of
team
knowing.
couldn't even make it last. Great.
There's no way of knowing. The important thing is only the teams looking for cheap real estate go to the Kansas side of the river.
They will soon have a NWSL team, apparently.
Oh, nice.
We'll add that.
Well, there you go. That's probably going to play at Sporting Park, though, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, will they use the same stadium?
I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't understand the ownership group that's buying it. I don't think it's the same as the Sporting ownership group, but they're buying the Royals and relocating the Utah Royals. So
FC Kansas City, it already exists. They're 7th.
I mean, it makes sense. If you have a team in Kansas City,
It's got a really trash logo.
they've got to be named after royalty, though. That's the Kansas City thing. So buying Utah.
It says it's based in Missouri. FC Kansas City was an American professional. Maybe they don't exist anymore. So this is the one you were talking about.
FC Kansas City, I believe, actually became the Royals.
Founded in 2012, dissolved in 2017.
And then now the Royals are becoming Kansas City again.
What? They left and now they're coming back?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
So this is the San Jose Earthquakes model, is what you're saying.
This is a fallout from the whole Deloy Hansen thing that we talked about however long ago that occurred.
Oh, that's right.
With the racist crap bag owner.
The racist, sexist douche nozzle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is him continuing to just like lose a bunch of crap because he's a terrible person.
I see. Fascinating.
Yeah. Welcome to ACES Radio, a podcast formerly about the Buffalo Bills, now about an NWSL
team in Kansas
City.
Or maybe Utah.
We're a New York
or
Yankees
maybe Kansas.
podcast only.
No, we are not.
No, we're not.
We definitely are, though.
Except we're definitely not. Any co-owner except Steinbrenner. That's what ACES stands for. I see what I did there,
Well,
Brent.
George is dead, so I don't think you have to worry about that.
Don't some of his bastard offspring still own the team?
I believe one of them has also died, and then another one does still own it, but he's kind of cheap, and I'm not really a fan.
And possibly soon to die.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen. It could.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we talk about Columbus soccer for a couple minutes, or should we just keep going with this?
I mean, if we have to.
Let's just keep going. We're on a roll. Let's just see where it goes.
No more Yankees talk. Sorry, Brent. The Crew won a game on Sunday. That was pretty cool. It was a 1-0 victory over the New England Revolution and their Crayola crayon logo. Big shout out to Bruce Arena for being the oldest coach in the history of soccer, matching up with the worst logo in the history of MLS. You did good, but you didn't do good enough. Turns out that 500 cases of COVID cannot stop the Columbus Crew. They were good. Brent, what were your thoughts on this game?
Again, just like last week, you're talking about survive in advance, and that's what we've done. I was really happy with the defensive performance. Josh Williams just had a monster game. He was all over the place. Andrew Tarbell just continued to impress in Aloy Room's absence. Defensively, it was great. I mean, we talked about the offensive prowess that New England has kind of shown, especially since they got their players back from injury. And we really, limited their chances, like a lot. I forget what the stat said, but their number one playmaker only had the ball at his feet in the attacking third, like maybe 4 times throughout the game, 5 times. It was something crazy that we were just really able to limit them. So that was good. And then, you're struggling against a good keeper in Matt Turner, and you find a way to get one in, even if it's, unconventional or exactly what you really expected, which was Jonathan Mensah to our tour, like we all predicted last week.
Was Matt Turner goalie of the year? Or was that Andre Blake?
I don't think Turner. I think
Yeah, I think Blake won Keeper of the Year, but Turner won the Matthew Doyle Season-Long Erection Award, which is...
Oh, you've been keeping track of that, have you?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I just looked it up. Andre Blake was goalkeeper of the year.
Matt Doyle has consistently said all year that Turner is a better goalkeeper than Zach Steffen, which is clearly a ludicrous
it's
statement.
absolutely false. But
Yeah.
you know, they've said that about multiple keepers
Matt
within
Turner,
MLS, and it just whatever.
It's interesting that the guy who just lost an MLS playoff game is a better goalkeeper than the guy who just kept a clean sheet in a Champions League UEFA game. Interesting.
Yeah, against was it Marseille that Zach got his shutout against?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Today?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Matt Turner, you're congratulations. You're MLS good. Come back and talk to us when you're starting in another league, and also winning playoff games. John, did you get to watch this game since your employer is shitting all over your schedule?
No, unfortunately, I did not get to watch this game. I saw about the first 30 minutes, I guess, because it kicked off. Because of when it kicked off, I wasn't. Well, it said it was supposed to kick off at 3, but it didn't actually end up doing that. It kicked off quite a bit later, and so I only saw about the first half an hour. And I listened to the remainder of the first half in the car on the way to work, and then we did have it on the TVs there, but the Browns game wasn't over, so we didn't have it on the audio. And it's just, even if when we're kind of slow, it's just hard to keep track of something on the TV.
Oh, sure.
So I really didn't see a whole lot beyond just glancing up to check the score and noticing that we'd scored. I didn't actually even get to see the goal when it happened. I saw it on highlight later. So I don't have a whole lot of commentary yet again, unfortunately, but
I forgot, incidentally, that Saucy Brewworks is a Cleveland brewery. I was going to ask why the fuck they didn't have the Columbus team with the audio, but their home base is actually in Cleveland, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and the Browns game was very close to the end, so it was kind of one of those situations where we were like, I was like, well, let's just like let them. They've been here people have been here for hours, drinking and eating and watching the Browns game. I'm not going to turn the audio off on them with like a couple minutes left to go.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if you know this, John, but this game was also close. In fact, one could make the argument that there was only one goal separating the teams.
A lot of people actually have been saying that same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any thoughts? Like what? So I assume you at least got to see the highlights and watch the goal. As Brent said, like, is that maybe the most improbable combination to score an offensive goal?
So I did the rare thing, and for whatever reason, MLS doesn't have the extended highlights available anywhere but on the app. So I did the rare thing, of actually turning that app on, which I hate to do because it's like one of the biggest pieces of shit. But I wanted to see as much as I could, and I didn't catch why Jonathan Mensah was fucking up there. I don't know if it was recent. Had we just taken a corner or something, and he just hadn't tracked back yet, or what?
I think there might have been a fairly recent corner, but I'm telling you, he was in the attacking third like multiple times just during run of play.
Yeah, I remember seeing him
thing.
And Josh, frankly, that were all over the place in just a lot of different places. And I don't know if that was part of the game plan, is with like just the team needing to be flexible with the requirements of Artur and Nagbe and shutting those midfield New England players down and saying like, okay, if they have to track a guy out of position, then you guys just need to step up into that space or whatever. And that's what ended up, leading to them being all over the place. But both of them, it seemed, had like really good defensive games. Josh especially, felt like he was playing kind of out of his mind. But yeah, I mean, that was awesome. It was great to see Artur get yet another goal. I mean, the guy has gone from scoring one playoff goal a couple of years ago to now scoring like 3 times in 5 or 6 games. That's exactly the kind of like elevation in play that you want to see from your starters when the playoffs are happening. So it's really exciting.
At this point, I think half of Artur's career goals in MLS have come in the playoffs. And I mean, if you're not going to be a frequent scorer, that's a good time to do it for sure. I do think, if I recall correctly, I think the goal came off of there had been like a corner kick or a free kick or something, so he was still up. But you're definitely right. Both center backs, especially in the playoffs, have been pretty aggressive in moving forward, and it seems like that's a deliberate choice because it's not just one or two times; it's happening on the regular. I mean, they're dribbling up past the half field line and trying to hit those unlocking passes, breaking through the lines. And it's working great. I don't think other teams have been expecting that kind of approach. It's, a new wrinkle, and you've got two guys who can clearly do it very well. Josh has always been, more than willing to dribble forward into space. And he's pretty good at hitting those passes going forward. In fact, Josh, he had like an actual shot with his actual foot in this game, which was pretty fantastic. I think he absolutely had his best game of the season. You just saw him everywhere. I mean, he was making big, stops and clearances. He was getting forward on offense. He was a beast. He was what Tony Tchani aspires to be. I mean, he was not a midfield boss. He was an entire field boss. He was just wherever he needed to be, he was there.
You know that this is not a good time to bring that name up, right?
Yeah, I don't know why you would invoke that, Darby.
Yeah, just leave that in the past, Draps.
Days away, okay?
I mean, Tony Tchani sucked for reasons that aren't related to the end of 2015.
If and when this comes back to bite us, I'm coming for you.
John, I'm not a superstition boy. You know this, but I will say
coming for your inheritance.
I will say,
what dark god gave you your everlong life? Then,
my Alex Cronali jersey is undefeated in the playoffs. I'm just gonna say that.
That's a superstition.
You keep just saying things that you should not be saying.
Brent, does it bother you? What if I guarantee a victory right now? Would that be?
Can you stop upsetting perennial loser and Michigan fan Brent?
Hey, he had a real victory this season because they didn't have to play Ohio State. It's like the first
Quite
time
frankly,
in 50 years
I would have rather
they
played that game and seen Ohio State put 100 points up so that maybe they would actually get rid of Jim Harbaugh.
Get rid of Harbaugh, yeah.
Well, good news. He'll probably get the COVID and die at some point because I don't think he believes in masks or human decency. But yeah.
Sounds about right.
I mean, it was a good game. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts in general. I mean, the Revs were a legit opponent. They certainly played well. I never felt really comfortable in this game, especially in the last half hour, that they couldn't score given the opportunity. Tarbell came up big with his second.
You mean the Revs
shutout.
couldn't score, or the Crew couldn't score?
The Revs couldn't. Like, it felt like
so you never felt comfortable with the 1-0 lead, as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
See, I know that I'm in like kind of an extreme minority here, but I never really felt that uncomfortable. Like it felt inevitable that we were going to win this game, even when New England was making that push in the end, and everybody was, freaking out. Like, I don't know. It just felt inevitable to me that we would be in the position that we're in now.
Brent, do you want me to mention Steve Clark now?
And we can't all have that kind of confidence. Okay.
Do you want me to? Do you want me to guarantee a win, Brent? What would make you uncomfortable right now? Because I feel like you're talking. Oh, I was so comfortable. It was never in doubt. I want to make you uncomfortable, Brent.
See, and there's a difference between feeling confident during a game and you just saying absolutely stupid shit that you shouldn't be saying.
To be fair,
I think you need to learn
almost exclusively absolute stupid shit that he shouldn't be saying.
It's very on brand for me. All right, fine. I won't do any jinxy things, as far as you know. All right. Yeah. So, anything else about this game?
I was watching the highlights again while you guys were bickering, just to see the.
Had enough time for that.
Just to see the goal again, and goodness gracious, it is just a really, really nice goal. I mean, like every little part of it. the dancing that Lucas does before he sends that cross in, just like the difficulty of like controlling and bringing down that pass by Mensah in a way that makes it that provides Artur with a ball that's even remotely he's able to hit, and then for him to just like place that so perfectly. I think that may be like as odd of a tandem as that is. That might be one of the like prettiest goals the Crew have scored this entire season.
Oh, for sure.
That pass from Mensah was about as perfect as he could have made it. I mean, it was
right.
I mean, from your center back, like that's
it was one
insane.
touch, right? Like
it was just
from the air.
Yeah. It's going one way. He brings it down with his right leg, passing it back the same direction just came from, and then and it's still bouncing as it gets to Artur. So the ability for him to hit that off the bounce, and just guide that. Literally, you can see if there's an angle there that's perfect, like right behind Artur, and you can see it curve around the keeper's hand and inside the goal. It's just like sublime.
Yeah, I mean the placement on that shot is incredible, and also if you watch the replay, Artur starts to make a run while that ball is still in the air. Like he's already predicting that Mensah is going to get him the ball in a dangerous spot. He wasn't just sitting there waiting to see what happened.
Yeah.
Just the whole sequence is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, even Giassi, who's not actually involved in the play directly, is being double marked via his movement. So he's completely drawn the attention of both their center backs.
For sure. Yeah, they're bracketing him. They're not even just sort of watching him. They're one on either side.
Yeah, they're literally both within 2 feet of him. Mm-hmm. They could both reach out and touch him. So it's just all around really well done by everybody.
Yeah, it's been a talking point all year about Giassi's positioning, but I mean, damn, man, the dude knows where he needs to be, and I don't know that I've seen another player who gets continually shit on as much as he does that has the awareness that he does, and has the IQ of the game that he seems to have. It's just crazy how underappreciated he is.
It's interesting because that Brent says he felt comfortable, and Darby says that you said that you didn't because and the stats show kind of a middling, a fairly even contest, but the highlights I don't know, obviously it could have been selective editing by whoever put this together, but the highlights show a fairly, I feel, dominant game from the Crew as far as chances that are worthy of a highlight reel go.
Yeah, I mean
that's how it felt to me. I mean, it seemed like
couple New England opportunities, but that Giassi had a couple shots. Lucas banged that one off the bar or off the post.
Dude, that one off the post, oh my god,
that was insane. I remember when I was watching the highlights and I knew the score line, but I was still watching the highlights, and when that was in the air before it hit the post, I was like, oh my god, we're about to score again, and I knew that it was only 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, it's not as though New England got off a ton of shots. I mean, the defense did a pretty good job of shutting down their attack, even though they have by MLS standards, a pretty solid attack by and large. But 8 of their 10 shots came in the second half. So they definitely ramped up the intensity in the second half, particularly. Let's see. I can't see what the time marker is, but starting around the 70th minute, so not long at all after Artur's goal. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't like, oh my God, we're going to lose this game, but you just know that, for better or for worse, Bruce Arena puts together teams that manage to get results. And this is a team that was incredibly successful on the road, worked their way through the MLS playoffs, and beat a number of teams in adverse circumstances, beat some good teams pretty handily. So, it wouldn't have shocked me if they'd managed to sneak one in at some point, but thankfully they didn't. All right. Anything else about this game, or should we go on and talk about, I don't know, I guess other stuff?
Is there other stuff to talk about?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's another game coming up on Saturday if you're interested in that kind of thing.
I actually picked up a shift that night.
Oh, that's a really good and smart idea. I'm glad that you did that. Yeah. So, there's one more game left this season, guys. Saturday at 8 o'clock against everybody's favorite Western Conference team, the Seattle Dickbags. It's going to be in Mafre Stadium, which is great and cool, and a thing that I like to have happen. I wish I could be there, but it's not safe, so I'm not gonna. Okay, Brent, I assume you put this note in about the COVID test. You want to talk about that?
Yep, sure. So it did come out, was this yesterday? The news dropped that there was one new positive case on the Crew roster. Don't know who it is. Certain people that write for certain Crew-related blogs put out a tweet today that made us think it might have been Darlington Nagbe, but thankfully Jacob Myers and other national media people were quick to point out that Darlington Nagbe was just rescheduling his media availability. It wasn't canceled. So we're assuming that the four kind of most important players are good. Don't know who the new COVID test is, but we also know that the Crew returned 6 players to practice this week who were previously out with COVID. So that's kind of where the team's coronavirus list is right now. One new case, but everybody except for maybe one person from the previous list is returned to the team.
The lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, never listen to anything the Massive Report ever says.
In his defense, this does seem like it was an MLS miscommunication based on what some of the other writers were saying. So it's not entirely Pat's fault.
I mean, if you say so.
Though.
Yeah, I'm going to blame Pat.
Any opportunity to shit on Massive Report, Brent? You've been on ACES radio for a full season now. Get with the fucking program.
You can cuddle with Pat Murphy after the show's over. I mean, if
I'd prefer to not to. He's a Man United boy who never stops talking about Ohio State, and those are two things that I don't really care for. Drabs.
You know, sports make for strange bedfellows, Brent, and I mean that literally. When you are cuddling in bed, you can talk about non-sports things. It's fine. It's okay. As you run your fingers
non-sports things, so that would
through
be
his scruffy his Yeti beard, because doesn't he have a Yeti beard? Didn't he decide to go like balls to the wall on his facial hair?
I have absolutely no idea.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in almost a calendar year because there's a deadly virus ravaging the planet, Darby.
Sounds like you've been spending a lot of time with him, though, Drabs.
Well, yeah. I mean, that beard isn't going to run fingers through itself. I mean, obviously, I'm hanging out with Pat Murphy. He knows how much I love him. Moving on. COVID things. I guess you probably also want to talk about the reffing controversy. Has the reffing officially been announced? Because I know there was a lot of speculation leading up till this point.
Yeah, so it was reported, though not confirmed. Where it's literally there in front of me. Sorry, I was looking for my phone. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Reported but not confirmed that this year's referee of the year within the pro organization will not be officiating MLS Cup. This would be only the second time in 8 years that has happened, if that indeed does come to be the case. So I guess I just don't understand. Like, you have a guy that you have said it has been the best all season at controlling your game, at not making himself the storyline, at not giving away stupid cards and punishments, but yet also not letting players injure each other and, enforcing the rules of your game, why would you not have that person officiate your most important game of the year? What reason could you possibly have for that?
Because MLS is dumb?
Maybe he has COVID.
No, it was a scheduling thing. He just officiated the Seattle game. So they're saying that because
he could have gotten COVID.
Well, he might have it now, but they're saying because he officiated Seattle that's why they're reporting that he won't be officiating the Cup game, because it won't be somebody that just officiated your conference finals. It'll be a different person.
Well, I think that seems like okay reasoning to me. I don't know.
Okay, but you should have fixed your schedule so that your ref of the year is not officiating the weekend before your most important game. Oh, the other time in the 8 years that's happened, going all the way back to 2012, was 2015. Granted, they had to cancel that game. We didn't actually play it.
Well, because the reverse leap year, there actually didn't end up being an MLS Cup, so that worked out.
But in all seriousness, we know what happened in 2015. That was the last time that your best official of the year didn't ref your Cup game. Why would you do that again?
All I know is that Mark Geiger is the greatest MLS official ever. So if he wants to referee MLS Cup, he should be allowed to. Wait, is that not who we're talking about?
That's not who we're talking about now.
Are we talking about Chris Penso? I love that guy too.
Still wrong, Drabs. You need to learn some other officials. But the report, again, this is unconfirmed, so this might not actually come to fruition, but the report is that you would have the same center official from 2015.
Where are you hearing that from?
Massive Report.
If you tell me Nate Beckman, I'm going to lose.
Massive Report.
No, it was not Nate Beckman.
Was it Massive Report?
It was first reported by Massive Report.
Of course it was. Was it confirmed by Big Soccer?
I don't know because I don't get on Big Soccer.
Has anyone with legitimacy beyond what Massive Reports is, which could be literally almost anybody in the world, said anything about this?
I don't know. I didn't really look for it, John. Like I said, unconfirmed. This could turn out to be not a thing. This might not happen. Maybe Elfath will referee 2 weekends in a row. He'll come from.
Okay, so hold on here. The words "ref" and "controversy" are written in the show notes. So which part of this is the controversy, Brent? That the ref of the year isn't reffing the game, or that the ref from 2015 might ref the game?
I would say both of those could be their own controversies.
Okay, well then you should have first of all put controversies.
Oh my God! Why are you just stop it? I personally, frankly, don't give a shit about this. I don't think that there's any way that they'll have the guy who did 2015 referee this game. There's no possible way. They need this game to be seen as legitimate in all ways, and that would cast an unnecessary shadow on it. Oh, yeah, it would be so unlike MLS to make a stupid decision, wouldn't it, John?
I just don't believe they're capable of that level of blatant ineptitude.
I think Don Garber is completely relying on Seattle, his once favored child. I don't think he's leaning on the refs. I think he thinks that Jordan Morris can do it all by himself.
Okay, see, but that's I'm not saying that this is the fix is in from the league and they're trying to rig the game against us. That's not what I was saying.
But that's all we do. We make outrageous claims.
What other reason would you have to bring up the 2015 thing then, other than to suggest that they're picking him again because it's gonna fuck us?
Because he's a terrible ref. He's just not good at his job.
I don't even know that man's name. Who is it?
I don't know how to say his first name. It's Jair.
Alan Chapman.
But his last name is Marufo.
Jair Marufo? Oh.
Yeah.
Refs all the time.
He's not good.
I don't know.
So the fact that you would have him in your most important
I mean, Brent, you also want to bring up the other controversy that Marufo was involved in, right?
Oh my
Don't
God!
you?
Now there's 3 controversies. Jesus Christ!
You know you want to. Go ahead and say
Hang on,
it. You can talk
Let me
about
adjust
it.
the notes here.
Why don't you pull it up, Jeff? And John, stop talking about the show notes. You know that
I've changed
Drabs always
it
writes
says
these.
all 3 refereeing controversies. Now it says it in there.
You know that Drabs is the one that does the show notes every week.
Please proceed to the 3rd controversy.
So for anybody who...
Yeah, I know. He's Blanco, baby, right?
Yeah, he's the one who basically, after he made a shit-ass decision, Blanco gave him a jersey, and the league was like, yeah, that's probably fine. Yeah, Marufo gave a red card to Gino Padula for a foul on Blanco, and then basically Blanco thanked him with a game-worn jersey for that. And Pro and MLS just thought that was fine. So yeah, anytime you can get a highly, in Brent's defense, which I can't believe I'm saying this, maybe don't pick the guy who has multiple significant controversies to his name to ref MLS Cup. But if MLS has an opportunity to do something stupid and wrong, they're going to do it. So props, I guess, for being consistent in your.
So I just pulled up his Wikipedia page out of curiosity to see if he was of Mexican descent. He is. That's why he wanted. That's obviously why he loved Blanco so much. His father was a referee from Mexico before him, and also
his father before him,
and his mother before him. I'm seeing here that he was suspended by the league for. Well, this doesn't make a lot of sense. For the remainder of the 2009 season, this was on September 1st that he was suspended. For the remainder of the 2009 season for, quote, poor performance over the course of the season. And then subsequently on February 5th, 2010, he was removed from the 2010 World Cup referee list because of that. So this is obviously a guy that has like a history of questionable decision-making, which is odd because he won MLS Referee of the Year in 2008, the year before he was suspended. And there's a whole bunch of other career mentions on here, including the 2014 MLS All-Star Game, and then something in 2017. And it doesn't even mention at all that he reffed the 2015 final.
So also it's interesting to me because the guy looks 17.
Yeah, he does. He looks very young, but he's 43.
He's 43 fucking years old. He's as old as I am. How is that a thing?
I don't know, but you made the wrong pact with the wrong devil.
Right. Apparently, I needed to make a pact with Blanco.
Yeah.
And here we are.
When do they? Is there any indication, or do we know what like the history is of them announcing the refereeing team for the game, Brent? Like, will it be done day of? Surely not, right? I would imagine at least probably tomorrow. You would think, right?
So
I mean, as far as I've ever seen, professional referees organization or whatever, I'm pretty sure that's what that stands for, right? They have their Twitter account, and they announce the refereeing assignments on Twitter day of. I don't know if like they release that information to the media night before, but I've only ever seen them release on Twitter day of.
Yeah, their website.
Is not helpful.
The Pro website they updated the Western Conference referee assignments the day of the game, and it appears it posted at 5:45 p.m. Eastern time. So less than 4 hours before kickoff.
There's a tweet about the Eastern Conference final that it is the day of the game, and that's at 12:45 in the afternoon. So, and it's linking to a page about the refereeing team. So that would be around noon. It looks like, yeah. So yeah, I guess it must be just day of. But that seems kind of crazy to me that there wouldn't be any announcement prior to the game day for the final I mean, yeah. Here's the tweets for the tweet for the Western Conference final is the day of at 7:20 p.m. That's what time did that game kick off? 8?
The Western Conference. That
Yeah.
was a 9:30 kick.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was barely 2 hours prior to the kick that they tweeted out the assignment. That's a bit ridiculous.
All right, so I will say, to your point about nobody but Massive reporting this, I have scrolled back and I can't even find where they said it now. So they may have deleted.
So we're talking about something that Nate Beckman tweeted. Great job, Brent.
Is Nate Beckman in charge of the Massive Report Twitter? Is that
I don't
a thing?
know, but somebody else
Is
texted
anybody?
me. I was texting with Mike Kean the other day, and he was like, "Oh my God, can you believe this shit?" And his reference, it was about the referees, and his reference was a Nate Beckman tweet. And I was like, that's not a reputable news source, Kuhn.
Oh my. All right. I think we beat the ref thing into the ground, especially for something we know nothing about, except for apparently Nate Beckman's speculation.
And that's John's fault. It would have been like a 2-minute thing, but he kept asking questions.
Hold on. The show notes literally say 3 reffing controversies.
You just changed it to
That's a lot
that.
of content, okay? It's a lot of content.
You literally just changed it to that. It would have been like a 1-minute thing if you hadn't been asking questions.
Yeah. Hey guys, guess what? Don Garber's coming to town. No, that's not a shitty version of a Christmas song.
You mispronounced that, Drebs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Dong's coming to town, as the notes say.
Yeah.
It's weird. It says Don G, but there's no space between Don and G. So it's almost like you're saying Dong instead of Don G. But yeah.
Well, as I was informed, you wrote this, so.
No, Brent probably did more to the notes than I did this week.
Drebs, you do the show notes every week, so I don't know what you're trying to do here.
I started to do show notes this morning, and I saw I had literally wrote the exact same thing that you had written in the user questions, so I stopped. Your formatting is terrible, though. You need colons after those names, Brent. How dare you?
I literally don't care.
Yeah, and it shows. So yeah, Don's coming to town. Dong is coming to town, presumably for the first time since the stadium groundbreaking, because God knows he doesn't fucking come to Columbus otherwise. And in fact, he's well known for not showing up in Columbus for years at a time and having to ask his PR person when the last time was that he was in Columbus. Now,
hey,
Brent,
the good news. We are a market that Don and the league have always believed in.
And that has quotes.
They've never doubted us.
I mean, that doesn't seem like it's true. As I hear you saying those words, I feel like there are literally multiple quotes from him that express the exact opposite sentiment over the course of, I would say, 2-ish years? Yeah, I would say a 2-year time frame of the team's history.
I mean, you don't even have to go back to that far. Like, just even recently as, like, the same interview where he said that, there were things that he said that cast doubt on this market and this fan base. So, you know, he's a fantastic person. He's great.
John, is Don Garber the worst person you've ever taken a picture with?
Keep in mind, Drabs was in that picture too.
I'm taking a lot of pictures with Darby, so
yeah. And you keep.
There's also a picture of you eating a hot dog with Morgan. Just remind you of that one too.
I've taken a lot of photos I regret. Let's just say that.
That's fair. Don, we can't wait to see you. We're so excited that you're going to be joining us finally in Columbus. Can't wait for you to see what we're going to do to Seattle, you bitch. All right. Now I guess we're going to talk about ticket sales. There will be 1,500 tickets sold for this game. I would say 1,500 fans in the stands, but I've already interacted with at least one potential scalper, although in retrospect it seems more like a scammer than a scalper because they were clearly full of shit with their fake Ticketmaster confirmation email.
Yeah.
But Brent, so I assume this relates to there was supposed to be a 1 p.m. pre-sale, and then the tickets sold out before then.
So I'm not really sure what the deal with the pre-sales was. Everybody got 2 emails. Each email had a different time for their pre-sale to start. Some people had a 9 a.m., I had an 11 a.m., and there was also a second email that had a 1 p.m. pre-sale. But there were people who the night of the New England game, like real soon after that game had ended, somehow already had tickets. Like they were buying their tickets that night, even though the pre-sale didn't start till Monday morning. And then there were people that I know that had the 11 a.m. pre-sale who were buying tickets at like 10:20, 10:40, like. So I'm not sure how they got their links to buy those tickets so early. I'm not sure, like, if the leagues, because the league controls tickets for MLS Cup. I'm not sure if their protocols, like, I have no idea what happened to allow that. But by 11 a.m. or 10:57 to be more precise, they had sold out of the ticket allotment that they had for season ticket members.
Yeah, and obviously we have no insight into what was going on behind the scenes there. I'm looking. I got my pre-sale email at 9:04 a.m. I mean, I suppose it's possible that those dumbasses just set up a generic ticket link that didn't open at a certain time, and they just relied on, hey, nobody's going to know what the link is until we send out the email. Maybe somebody got a hold of it. That's all speculation on my part. Frankly, I think I'm not shocked because this is MLS Cup, right? So the league, both teams' front offices, they're going to get their allotments for the league championship. And there's no exception to the 1,500 people for those seats. So there may have been a lot smaller number of tickets available than we assume as fans.
Do we know that Seattle even got an allotment as the way team usually does? I would actually imagine and hope that they didn't, because they should really be discouraging people from traveling. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that Seattle fans have any access to them, but I assume that like a certain number of tickets for family members, say, of like players. That would be my guess.
The other thing to keep in mind with that, like the fans, or not fans, the family and friends of the players aren't included in our 1,500 number. So we were 1,500 fans in the stands plus friends and family of the team.
Players, yeah.
I thought that the requirement from the county was 1,500 people.
Well, the advisement of the county was not to do it at all.
Yeah, so. There's no number requirement. There are suggestions, but
there's a state requirement though.
Not that would impact that 1,500 plus family and friends.
There is nothing enforceable.
I mean, that's because Mike DeWine's a giant candy ass.
Okay, but that answers your question, like about what anything that is a number that's been put out there as merely a suggestion, and there's nothing they can do to enforce it. I don't think. But yeah,
as long as
because the fans are only allowed on the east side of the stadium, because the west side is the friends and family side. That's been my understanding.
Yeah, as long as there's room for proper social distancing, like there's not a limit on them to how many they could sell. They capped it themselves at the 1,500 fans, but they didn't even really have to do that.
Right, assuming they could have found the space to fit more in, they could have done more.
I am a little surprised that they didn't like try to bring in the bleachers and increase their capacity that way. Like, we just opened up, 150 more tickets.
I mean, there's no
tickets or whatever.
They're going to lose money no matter what. Like, adding in bleachers isn't really going to change anything from them for a business perspective. I mean, is it worth it to maybe get 500 more people in at that point?
No. I mean, the optics are what they are, right? Like they're not good. They frankly shouldn't be having anybody at this game. Like they shouldn't have been having anybody at any games. Like Franklin County is one of the worst places in the country. So they're obviously just concerned about having some fan presence. So I don't think another 500 people is really going to do anything. I think the optics of another 500 people are going to be the same as if there weren't another 500 people. And it's not a money thing, obviously, because they're not making money. So another 5 people aren't going to make them money. So it was probably came down to how much would the bleachers cost? Okay, we're already losing money. Let's not lose more money. Like, I don't know. I'm a little annoyed about the way that they did it because I think it was not well managed and well handled, and lots of things about this new crew management have gone that way. So I'm not frankly surprised. Like I got the fucking email about the ticket sale process 3 times. Not sure why, but I did, and I think that people have a right to be upset. I was actually planning to go to this game if I could get tickets. I had secured N95 mask, and I was just going to go and sit and wear my mask the whole time and be there for it because I decided that I followed the rules all year and I deserved some fucking joy, and I felt like with the mask I could do it safely. But I didn't even get the chance to buy either because of the mismanagement of the process.
Did you contact the Nordeca for their allotment?
No, but I was not planning to sit in the Nordeca. I did not want to sit there specifically because that section seems to be the worst in regards to actually following the rules based on what I've seen on the TV. So I was actually going to buy tickets not in the Nordeca.
Yeah, that's fair.
By the way, gentlemen, per the order from the Ohio Department of Health back in August, teams will be allowed to host 1,500 fans or 15% of the fixed seated capacity, whichever number is lower. It is, in fact, a part of the order from the state of Ohio.
Okay, well, they stuck to that. 1,500 fans.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, now,
I
again...
didn't know that there were any enforceable rules, so I'm glad to hear that.
It still doesn't answer the question as to whether family members count as fans against that total. Like, I don't have the actual wording. I'm looking at a Dispatch article. So, like, I mean, you could make the argument that if it's 1,500 people, is that including ownership and vendors and, like, staff within the stadium? I'm not actually sure. But yeah, so like that number is and always is going to be low. And if all of those administrative tickets, because the league is going to be putting probably a couple of dozen people, and they're going to have high rollers that they want to impress and all that kind of bullshit. So, like, I don't know, that may have affected the availability of tickets for normal people. I hope it didn't, because that would suck. But that's also how business works, because capitalism is evil, John.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. All right. Anything else about the ticket sale stuff other than that the team is a shit show and they sent the same email 3 times to all of us?
Oh, did you guys receive emails multiple times too?
Oh, for sure, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I got 2 different emails and they had different times for my pre-sale.
Times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't understand what was happening with that. And nobody, like, I even reached out, I emailed and sent a Twitter DM, and nobody got back to me about it. Like, I was super confused and had no answers.
I actually preemptively emailed my ticket rep. Like, when the game ended, I did take a moment at work to step away and email my ticket rep, because I wasn't sure yet at that point what the process was going to be. And I wanted to be like, hey, I know I haven't been going to any of these games, but I am interested in going to this one. How do I get tickets? Blah, 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 blah. And she emailed me back. I heard from her. And she said that there would be a link sent out in the, just like the email said, in the morning with instructions on how to buy, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, that email never came because my quote unquote turn never even got around to happening. So, yeah, it's I'm not impressed. I'm continually not impressed by the front office so far with a lot of things. And granted, the situation is very odd and very unique and different than it would normally be. But given that, you would think it would be even more tightly managed. So I don't know.
John, they were busy putting together an Eastern Conference winning team. They didn't have time for your ticket nonsense. Big shout out, incidentally, to Tim Bezbachenko for putting together a roster that turns out was ready to run through the playoffs. Good job, Tim. We like it. We're a big fan.
Pat Onhatstad, who I suspect may actually do more of the work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not a lawyer.
That's our favorite, Pat Onhatstad.
Yeah. But no credit whatsoever to Caleb Porter because he only likes Portland players, and all of them except for Darlington Nagbe are terrible. All right. So I would like to take a minute to talk about this thing that people are doing on the Twitters, and I think even in the media, where they're celebrating MLS Cup as like, this is probably the last game at Mafre. When there's, in my mind, basically a 0% chance this is the last game that's played at Mafre. Can either of you help me to understand why people keep making this statement when we're clearly going to wind up having games early next season at some point, at least a game or two in our old stadium? Help me out here, lads.
Storylines and drama, Darby. Storylines and drama.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And you're right. Dr. Pete has even confirmed in the media this week that there is absolutely no chance that this will be the last game at Mafre Stadium. There will be a minimum of 2, possibly even up to 4 games played there next season. But I think it started with people saying that this would be the last big game at Mafre Stadium, and then, it just kind of slowly the word big faded out of there, and it just kept getting reported on that it would be the last game. It is that storybook ending that everybody wants to write, but it's not going to happen.
Wait, are you saying that the Crew aren't going to win MLS Cup?
No, I'm saying it's not going to be the last game. Again, okay. Let's go back to the beginning of the show when I told you to keep your trap shut.
He has short-term memory loss. Please remind him again of what
also
he's not
long-term memory loss.
Fucking say. Yeah. Also, just frankly, brain melt. I've seen it leaking out of his ears.
Things happen. Yeah, this is I realize people love a good narrative and never let the truth get in the way of a good story, but calm the fuck down. There are going to be games next season. Yes, this will be the last opportunity for Mafre Stadium or Crew Stadium or whatever you want to call it to host MLS Cup. Unless maybe they decide they just want to not have it at our fancy new stadium, but that seems unlikely. So, yeah, we're going to have more games. And I am sorry, incidentally, to anybody who is interested in getting tickets for this game who weren't able to, including you, John. It's like, that sucks. And I desperately would love to go. I made the decision not to pursue tickets, but I know that there are people who, had different perspectives. If you wanted them and couldn't get them, I feel bad for you. And I'm sorry that you were unable to get them. We'll just have to win MLS Cups at the new stadium so that everybody gets to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to start the dynasty.
Let me be clear. I definitely 100% still believe that not having fans and not attending this game is the right choice. Right. I made the decision literally solely off the fact that I knew I had access to N95 masks and that I would not only be able to make myself safe, but also protect everyone else that I would be around. So the ability to acquire and wear one of those for the entirety of my visit and my experience was the sole deciding factor, which I know is not going to be the case for probably 99.9% of the people who do actually attend. So,
sure.
At the end of the day, I'm a little bummed that I won't get to be there in person. But ultimately, I'm going to be watching the game. I did get the day off work, so I will actually be able to watch this game, and I'm going to be doing it among friends. And, honestly, that's where I think we'd all mostly rather be in the grand scheme of things anyways.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about that a little, Brent. So, Brent, do you know what your plans are as far as watching the game?
Yeah, I'll be in section 140 of Mafre Stadium.
Oh, okay. So you will be at that. So we're not talking to you for the next section because it's not about you anymore, Brent. How dare you? So John, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm absolutely. I hate the word gutted because I feel like that's a British word that Americans steal for soccer context, like footy and boot and pitch and kit and all that other wanker crap. But I mean,
I think you're allowed to use the word gutted to describe your feelings. I don't think of that as a British word.
I think gutted, just the sort of visceral connotation of it really works for me in this context. I feel awful.
The glory of that word, I think, is that everybody knows exactly what feeling you're describing. Like that pit of your stomach, like just... It like physically ill kind of thing. Yeah.
It works and it sucks. And like the irony of, a fan base working their fucking asses off to save the team and keep it here. And the final opportunity to see an MLS Cup in our original stadium, is going to be an opportunity that 99% of us don't have. That sucks on a level that I just can't even find words for. But I do also look at it and I realize, like you said, this is going to be an event that I absolutely want to be around friends for. And we can't even fully gather in friend groups like we might want. Maybe if this were an away MLS Cup, we would pack Endeavor to the rafters and or your supporter bar of choice and celebrate with hundreds of other people. And instead we're going to be in like these little socially distant pods in outdoor spaces, and we're like we're not going to be able to fucking hug and like pass bottles around and all of the shit that you do. And I guess, Brent, you get to speak to this too, because you're going to be in the stadium, but you're still constrained by all of these same things that we are. Like, it's not going to be the same experience. It sucks. It sucks doing the right thing. And I think in all of our ways, we're all doing the right thing. I know Brent is a responsible guy and he's sitting away from the Nordeck and...
Section 140 actually is the Nordeck.
Oh, goddamn it. Never mind. You suck.
That's the CSU section.
Okay.
But that's actually the only place that I could get tickets.
Okay. Well, you could also spread the fuck out if you so chose, I'm sure. It sucks on a million levels. And, probably just about everybody who's going to listen to this episode is going to be in the same boat as we are. That you're probably not going to be there. But go figure out a way to be with friends or share that experience in some way with others, because at the end of the day, that's still the part I love. 2015, which of course never happened. What I remember is we had a really great tailgate, and then we all just went home straight from there. Right, guys? Yeah. But like, it's that celebration part. It's the being with friends and fellow fans and crew family. I'd rather shout and cheer in my backyard watching the game than be randomly scattered around the stadium with strangers. So I can make peace with this. I don't know if you guys, I've rambled for a long time, so I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, but
yeah, I'll throw it. I mean, like, going to the game actually honestly would have been my second choice. I think we've talked about it before that I would have rather been with you guys in a backyard or, watching somewhere with my friends. But I, faced with a situation where it was either going to be watching that game at home by myself or in the stadium. Like, I'm choosing the stadium between those two things. But it just sucks knowing that I'll be watching this game without you guys there and without just all of the other people that make the crew experience what it is for me. I mean, it's gut wrenching. Like,
yeah, this is a family thing for us, for all of us, and it's, it sucks not being able to get with as much of your family as you would like. I'll get to hang out with some people, but not nearly enough, and that sucks, and I hate it. This is a real fucking downer. But hey, I mean, Crew's in MLS Cup, and that's fucking awesome. And the only thing left we have to do is, oh wait, I can't say what I'm going to say because Brent will get mad at me again, John, for like jinxing things.
Yeah, Darby,
you
I'd
can
like to
quote
invite
that
you to
movie.
shut the fuck up.
You can quote the movie.
he's
I'm allowed to quote the movie?
film.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's only one thing left to do. Win the whole fucking thing. So there it is. All right. Should we talk about some questions of the week? Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. First question comes to us from everybody's favorite Peeping Tom, convicted serial voyeur Keith Noss. Quote, "You put yourself up for a charity auction." That's a kinky way to start things. "The winning bidder gets dinner and a movie with you. You pick the meal, they pick the movie. Dong Arber is the winning bidder. What meal do you pick?" Brent, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. I'm torn on this between two. It would either be White Castle or Skyline, whichever one I think is going to get him away from me and into the bathroom quickest and stay there the longest. So probably the Skyline.
Oh, for sure.
What if you put Skyline over top of one of the sliders and made like a
There you
chili cheese
Now that's
slider?
Get the garlic cheese slider and put the Skyline on top of it. There we go.
Yep.
That's a combo.
Oh my God, it looks the same going in and coming out. Fantastic. John, what meal or what are you doing with Don Garber?
I feel like the answer here is fairly obvious. I would just serve him up another hearty plate of poop. You and I are constantly eating it. I think it's only fair that he partakes in the traditional meal of our people.
You hear that, Don Garber? Eat shit. Myself, I'm going to go with apples. Because then that
It's like
way...
a bowl of apples?
A bowl of apples. So that when Don Garber eats them, I can look him in the face and yell, "Columbus has the Crew, and they're an MLS Cup. How do you like them apples?"
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's right. Stealing shamelessly from Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, that was a Nate Beckman style.
Yeah, I was just going to say the setup and everything about that is going to make Nate smile.
I'm so sorry then. Can I take my answer back?
No.
Damn. Okay. Moving the fuck on. Next question comes to us from Mike Hudson Sucks. He certainly does. Quote, "Which former Crew player has the funniest sounding name?" Follow-up question, which former MLS player, non-Crew, had the coolest name? John, do you have thoughts on this one? I prepared my response, so I can go first if anybody needs.
I think the funniest name is obviously Connor Casey. Like, just thinking about it makes me laugh.
Okay. So then what's the best non-Crew MLS name?
Ooh, I'd have to say Carlos Valderrama. That's a pretty fun, badass sounding name. I was also going to say Marco Echeverri, but my deep-seated hatred for DC United and that man won't allow me to do that.
Yeah, I thought about Echeverri. That's kind of funny. Okay. Brent, do you have an answer here?
All right, so the first part of that, the funniest Crew player name, it's got to be Ansel Elcock.
God damn you.
Yeah, played for the team from, 97 to 01? Yeah, that's the best. Yeah. MLS player with the coolest name. Dude, I gotta be honest, I don't have a lot to pick from here because I don't really pay attention to
You're a baby
non-pro
boy.
MLS that often. So I'm gonna go with Wando, Chris Wondolowski. I don't know. I just like that last name. It's cool.
That's fair. Yeah, okay. I totally went Ansel Elcock also because, cock. I did have a backup answer, though. I think also Dilly Duca, whose name was so dumb, they used his first name as a catchphrase in those awful Bud Light commercials.
Dilly.
Dilly.
Dude, that was actually my second answer, too, in case somebody else took Ansel Elcock.
Brent
That's
and I
great.
are sharing a brain. You hate to see it.
You guys are on that wavelength. I was going to say, I don't think it's necessarily funny, but a very interesting and unique name. And it's not even his name, but we had Dr. Kumalo on the team for a year or two, and that was a pretty unique, interesting moniker.
Yeah. Whose actual first name was Theophilus?
Theophilus,
Theophilus, yeah. Yeah. For the MLS name that's the coolest, I went digging. I found some obscure shit. Actually, I lied. I Googled like coolest MLS names, and there was a list of 25. There was a guy who played for one season in DC United, 96. His name was Thor Lee.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, anytime you can get a player named Thor, that fucking wins. That's all there is to it.
Is that because your favorite movie is Ragnarok?
Nope. My note here says his name was great before Ragnarok ruined it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Okay. Next
We've yelled at
question.
Darby enough tonight. Let's not get onto that topic.
Yeah, let's not do that. Mitch from Ohio asks, do you feel guilty for your part in freeing the penis? Since the end of Hot Takes, Free to Penis has gotten off of Reddit and is instead on Twitter. Guys, I'm just going to lead off by saying this. I've been freeing the penis during every episode of ACES Radio this season. Recording from home.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, also when we were recording in person, I was also freeing the penis under
Your
the
penis was out under the table?
Yes.
God damn it, Darby.
Brent Miller, do you feel guilty for freeing the penis?
I do not. I don't feel guilty for that at all. That is how it feels the best, just unencumbered.
Sure. John, as the purveyor of the PFGs, do you feel guilty for freeing the penis?
I have always endorsed raw dogging it, so no.
Oh, no. Oh, John, baby daddy Zadar with his hot takes. All right.
Polo game strong, Darby. Polo game strong.
Oh, no. All right. Jeff Ballard asks, why do we drop the E in hate? Brent, you asked about this story. Do you want to talk about it at all?
I kind of forgot why we did that. It's been a thing for a while now. Back to you, Drabs.
Hats are cool, and they keep your head warm when you don't have hair.
The E in hate got dropped because Seattle fans are douchebags. John, any further comment on that? The E in hate.
I stand by both what you and I said.
All right, cool. There you go. If you want to look into it, you can Google Hat Week 2015. The Sounders at Heart website even has a whole fucking article they wrote about it. Because of course they take credit for it, just like they do literally everything else.
Do we trust the Seattle account of how that happened?
I don't actually care enough to look into it.
Let me just say, if you really want to know the real story, everyone should tweet and DM and text and call Morgan Hughes and ask him to explain it.
Oh, for sure.
Now that is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, the whole hate week definitely ties into the Seattle AO Capo bullshit. But that's a longer, this is only a 2-hour podcast. We don't want to make it a 3-hour podcast. Next question comes to us from Eric, Tony Hogan Lad Party, who asks, what message to Dong Arber do you want me to write on a sign for Saturday? John, what's your message to Dong that Eric should put on his 2-stick, banner, his handheld sign, whatever?
Oh, man. There's so many to choose from. Maybe just go with the classic, get fucked.
Ooh, I like it. Simple and to the point. All right, Brent, what's your message for Dog Arber?
You write whatever you want on there. Saturday is for us, and I will be paying that man absolutely no attention whatsoever. My goal will be to forget that he's even there. He'll be disappointed enough by the result at the end of the game.
Oh, Brent, what are you doing? You're just doing the thing you were yelling at Darby about.
The moral high ground and the jinx. Wow. Bold choice. Guys, let's be honest here. What we need everybody in the stands to have is an "Are you okay?" shark on their signs. That was maybe one of the greatest things that's happened on Twitter in recent memory. His Don Garber's congratulations tweet to Columbus had, dozens of "Are you okay?" sharks in reply, and I was completely there for it. It was so great.
Yeah, there are multiple videos of people just scrolling through the replies. If you're interested, it's kind of amusing.
As entertaining as that is, I do want to inform everyone that verified accounts have a whole separate section for their notifications that only other verified accounts fall into, and I guarantee you Don Garber never leaves that and looks at the normal people.
Oh, he probably doesn't even fucking use Twitter. He's got his PR jackwads running that shit. He's like...
That also is probably true,
yeah. He's shouting over to an unpaid intern like fucking Trump in the Oval Office, just screaming incoherent things and having somebody type it into a phone.
No, Donald Trump is tweeting himself.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no way that
obvious.
somebody else is writing exactly how he speaks.
All caps, misspelled words, grammar that doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. Next question comes to us from Nordekian, who asks, which MLS fans are the worst, and why is the answer Seattle? I'll start off. I know I feel like it's obvious, but they were the first team in MLS that was born on third base and thought they hit a fucking triple. They got gifted with a great coach. They got to steal good players. They got to be Don Garber's favorite child for years. They've never actually suffered at any point as a fan base. Basically, they just all suck, except for Mickey Turner. He's cool. John, any thoughts on why Seattle fans are the worst?
I think you covered it.
All right. Brent Miller, would you like to validate my awesome opinion? Brent, are you there? Brent?
No, I'm not. I left. You did a good enough job covering that I didn't need to be a part of this.
You could have jumped in to validate me a little quicker, Brent. I'm kind of disappointed in you.
Nope. Get in line.
Oh, all right. The final question this week comes to us from MV Hunting Knife, which is a kind of a creepy Twitter handle, but you do you, buddy. Tell us why hashtag Hat Week by using a limerick. I don't know if you guys did it. I did actually write a limerick for this. Did you
I wrote
something?
one.
Did you? Nice. Brent?
I gotta be honest. Poetry
poetry
was never my thing. I never paid attention during poetry lessons in English, so I don't remember what a limerick is.
Can you do a haiku, Brent?
I could if I knew what a haiku is.
Jesus,
how about some doggerel verse?
That sounds even more complicated.
Brent, can you give us 2 words that rhyme?
I could if I knew what rhyme meant.
Good God, Brent.
All right.
Send him to Seattle. We don't need him here anymore.
All right. John, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first on the limerick?
I can go first if you'd like. It's up to you.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up because I wrote it down earlier today. Okay. There once was a team called Seattle, whose fans did nothing but prattle. League-wide they're despised. Euthanasia is advised to end their mooing like cattle.
Wow. That shit is dark, dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. I got, so since it's supposed to be about Hat Week, I kept it on that theme. Once a Sounder fan quite spastic chose to do something bombastic. They turned Hate Week to hat. In the end, it fell flat. The joke, like their field, was just plastic.
Nice. I think we did a bang-up job there. It almost makes up for the fact that Brent's a moron.
You know, we should have been doing limericks all fucking year. What took us so long?
No, it's not necessary.
No.
Poetry's not a thing that anybody likes.
Well, that's something that's also said about you, Brent, but yeah, here you are.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fair point.
All right, guys. Let's award some man balls. Brent, who are you handing your slightly sweaty man balls to?
They're actually not that sweaty because they've been freed, along with DePenis. Man balls this week are going to go to Josh Williams and Andrew Tarbell. Both had just amazing games. I know New England didn't have that many shots, but the ones that they did were pretty good and required Tarbell to do some work. And Williams, what an absolute lad. He was all over the field. And then his post-game interview about being a good teammate and being ready when called upon was just fantastic. Josh Williams, Angel Eyes, what would we do without you?
There.
Masturbate less, for one.
Yeah, I would be so much less chafed right now. I'm giving my man balls to both center backs, Williams and Mensah. They both had amazing games. This is a game that, you know, if they both were to basically just sit back and play defense, I wouldn't second guess that, given the Revs attack, but they both were involved in every stage of the game. Mensah with that fantastic assist. I loved the Josh Williams interview. He basically talked about, you know, save the crew. Mensah also had a video interview today where he was talking about wanting to win one for the fans for all they'd done. You know, it's always nice to be validated by the players. Like, I want them to win for them and for the city, and but also for the fans. You're both great guys. You're exemplary players for the team on and off the field. My hat's off to both of you. All right, John, who you got?
I'm going to give one to Josh Williams. That was Josh's best game from what I could tell, but also potentially, you know, maybe his whole career, if not this season for sure. I mean, the man was just like a machine. He was everywhere and nowhere all at once. And it was great to see. It's really nice to know that there is still an Ohio guy out there on the field suiting up for this Columbus team. It makes me proud to have him on the field and on the roster, and I hope that he hears this man ball and takes this man ball and channels this man ball into another similar performance this Saturday. And then I'm going to give my other one just to Artur. The guy has just really – he's just been a rock all season, but he's just really stepped up during the playoffs and is contributing in like new offensive ways that you know, aren't really necessarily expected of him, but which have just like come in so clutch. And it's just been a real joy to see him from the time that we originally signed him to now, and just how far he's come and how great of a player he is. And I mean, he's just really proven to be one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. And I'm just excited to see where else he can go.
Nice. All right. Well, I think it's time to preview MLS Cup now. Brent, why don't you take this? You put in all the work and put in the notes about Seattle. You clearly did a lot of research on this, so take it away, buddy.
All right. So December 12th, we'll be playing Seattle, who was 11-6-5 on the season, which was good enough for second place in the Western Conference, which means that they have not yet had to leave CenturyLink Field for the playoffs. They've had the advantage of being at home every single step of the way until now. Their road record was 2-3-3. When you do this, I'm just curious, do you put draws in the middle or at the end? I'm not sure which one's the American way and which one's like the British way.
The American way is losses go second.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I have draws in the middle.
Well, good news
for 11-6-5.
I was going to say, with 2-3-3, it doesn't matter at all.
That was the 11-6-5. But yeah, okay. 2-3-3 doesn't matter. They've, been pretty average compared to the rest of the league.
It's 11 wins, 5 losses, 6 draws.
Yeah. Okay. So their playoff run so far, they have beat LAFC 3-1. They beat Dallas 1-0. They beat Minnesota 3-1, with all 3 goals coming after the 75th minute. I mean, what do you guys think here? Like, Seattle's probably the toughest team we played so far, yeah?
I mean, I did not want to face off against them. I think they are definitely the better team than Minnesota. Minnesota has an insane, really incredible attack, which I think you've seen throughout the playoffs for sure. But their defense is not very good, as evidenced by the fact that they threw away their lead in the last 15 minutes of their game. And so that's really who I was hoping to face, simply because of that defense I saw as a pretty large weak point. Yeah, I mean, I think there's no question that Seattle is the best team that we've faced. And I think inarguably probably the favorite for this game, if only because they're the reigning champs. They're the defending champs.
So we have opened as slight favorites, at least as far as betting lines go, just so you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, Seattle is legitimately a dangerous team, but also anybody who gets to MLS Cup is a dangerous team. They were only 3 goals off the pace for the league lead. LAFC wound up having the overall lead with 47 goals. Seattle had 44 goals. They also did pretty well in the goals allowed. They only gave up 23. The lowest in the league was 20. So they score a lot and they don't give up a ton, which is, I mean, that's literally all you're looking for if you're a team. But I mean, they're certainly not invincible. They didn't finish top in the West. They finished by record 6th overall in the standings. They're to take nothing away from their season, because they have basically a 3-headed attack that few, if any, teams in the league can duplicate. But they also did jack shit against Minnesota for the 74 minutes up until the point where they just unleashed fury on them. So it is certainly possible to contain them. I mean, I don't know that I really had a strong opinion about who I wanted to play. I think Seattle is the tougher matchup, but I feel really good about the Crew defense. I feel like the combination of Arber and Nagbe in the midfield right now is going to give any attacking group fits. And the key to beating a team like Seattle is to control the game and possess the ball. And the Crew have done a really good job of that. I think this game, it plays pretty well all in all into the Crew's strengths. And also it would admittedly be fun as hell to beat Seattle. As much as I would hate to lose to them, I would really, really enjoy getting to beat them in MLS Cup. And also with the whole asterisk thing, if you want to beat the team that I think most people would actually say was probably the best in the West, if you beat them, then that adds a little more legitimacy to your MLS Cup trophy. So, I think it should be a fun game to watch. I just hope it's fun in a Crew direction rather than fun in a desperately trying to make up lost ground kind of direction. So the second point here that Brent put in is a question that a lot of people have asked, and I find this interesting. Who starts in goal for MLS Cup? Assuming that Aloy Room...
So we're just done talking about Seattle? Is that how you're doing that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dang it, Traps.
Sorry, keep going.
No, I wanted to point out, like, Seattle has scored 7 goals through their 3 playoff games. The Crew have scored 6. Pretty even pace there. Not bad. But of their 7 goals, Seattle has had 6 different players score for them. Their only player that has scored more than once is Ruidíaz. Like, how does it...
I think... Go ahead.
So you're like, are you concerned then that they have a multi-threat attack, or are you less concerned because nobody's really blowing the doors off it?
I mean, the other point is that of their 7 goals, 4 of them have been set pieces. So they're lethal whenever you give them a corner or a close free kick.
Yeah, but including 2 of their goals in the comeback against Minnesota.
Right.
Those were set pieces, yeah.
I mean, to answer your question, I think I would be actually a little bit more concerned, just because their players have shown an ability to where no matter where they are on the field, no matter what their position is, like, they're involved in the offense and they can put the ball in the net. Ladero, Morris, O'Neill, Bruin, and Svensson have all scored for them. That's more than we talk about their 3-headed attack, but all of their players are getting involved and getting the ball in the back of the net for them. That being said, I'm not like panicky about that. I do think our defense can handle them. But it's interesting to me that they're getting that kind of a contribution from their players that are not their known attackers.
Sure,
I think the thing that Sorry. Go ahead, Darby.
Yeah, I mean, if they're getting goals off set pieces, though, that is where you start seeing different names pop up on the score sheet. So to me, that's not entirely shocking.
I was going to say, I think the thing that concerns me the most is like the comparison between bench depth, because I know that a lot of their goals, 2 of them, in fact, in their last game, came from substitutes. And I just don't think that we have the same level. We've seen the same level of impact from Crew subs. A majority of our goals are not coming from subs, or not even a majority, but not even a good share come from our subs. So I'm a little bit more scared of the late game against them when people start getting tired and changes start being made. I think they have more impactful players that they're bringing on. I mean, Will Bruin is a known commodity in MLS, been around for a long time, scored a lot of goals in this league. He came in, against Minnesota and scored the goal that started the I think he scored the first goal in the comeback. So it's just that having a guy that can come off the bench like that is dangerous and is something that we need to keep an eye on come Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. Their bench does have good depth to it. It's interesting looking at their Minnesota lineup. They have 5 defenders who were on the bench. And now some of those are going to be fullbacks, so those can be overlapping attacking sort of people. But it's not like they didn't have a ton of offensive depth on their bench. They got 2 goals from the subs who did come in.
Not sure how much I'd trust that lineup there, though, because it has Will Bruin listed as a midfielder.
The box score shows him as a forward, but I mean, this is MLS being MLS, of course. I'm looking at the box score rather than the lineup.
Oh, okay.
So they literally can't even keep their shit consistent.
The lineup has him as a midfielder.
Yeah. On the same page, just a different tab has him listed differently. Yeah. Way to go, MLS. You continue to suck at even the most basic of things. But yeah, who's your difference maker off the bench? They probably have more answers in that context than we do. That being said, I like having Christian Nemeth as an off the bench option, as a little bit of an X factor. He hasn't played a lot, but he's been pretty effective when he has. I like what Boateng brings off the bench. He's got speed, but he's got a lot of technical ability too. And
now you have Etienne or Diaz, depending on which way you go with starting lineups.
Yeah. I would assume Etienne's not 90 minutes fit right now. But I certainly think
assume
we'd
the
see
same
him.
thing.
I don't think you. I know this is leading into the next thing, and we were still kind of talking about Seattle, but you guys brought it up, so
No, that's good. It's called a transition, John.
I don't see. It's not great when you have to mention it, though, Brent. I don't see, even if Etienne is 90 minutes fit, I don't see you putting him back in the starting lineup. I think Diaz has been too dynamic and too dangerous during these playoffs. I mean, that's just my opinion. I feel the opposite about the goalie situation. I would definitely put Room back in, but I think that the metrics for success and the positional differences there is what makes me feel one way about the one role and the other way about the other.
Yeah. So, okay, Brent, how do you feel about the goalkeeper situation? Because people have asked, and I've had a number of people raise this with me this week. Do you put Room back in after being off, presumably for COVID, or do you stick with Tarbell on the hot hand, 2 shutouts in the last 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, Tarbell has been fantastic in his relief of Aloy Room, but I don't think there's any way that you have this guy that you've paid all this money for, who's supposed to be your big name goalkeeper, who you bought specifically for big time moments like this, available, and you leave him on your bench. I don't see any way that Caleb Porter does that. I mean, if anything, it's the safer call of the two. Like, even if you don't necessarily think it's the right call, it's safer. Because if something happens and you end up losing the game, it's easier to defend putting Room back in net than it is keeping him on the bench and riding the hot hand.
Yeah, regardless of defensive things after the fact, I just think Room is your guy. There's a reason he was the unquestioned number 1 starter. He didn't lose his position to performance. He lost it to not even injury. He lost it to illness. And I think he's your guy. I think Tarbell has done a great job, as well as anybody could be expected in that context. And I hope the reward for him is that he gets to start somewhere, maybe even next season. I love having him as a backup. He's performed admirably. I think a lot of teams would give him a look next year, and maybe you get some money out of that and he gets to go start somewhere. But I'm generally you don't lose your starting position to injury / illness kind of guy. And also my one knock on Tarbell is I will never forget him guessing the wrong way every time on PKs in MLS's back. And MLS could come down to PKs, and I feel like Room is going to be the better option in that context. I think he's your guy. John, do you have more thoughts about the goalkeeper situation, since you started off, but that was kind of a brief discussion?
No, not really. I mean, I think everything you guys said is something are things that I agree with. I mean, I think Andrew Tarbell's performed really, really well. I feel confident with him in goal. If Room was still ill or whatever, or something happens and Tarbell is forced to play, that's something I'm comfortable with. It's not something that I feel like you have super often in this league, where you have 2 goalies that you genuinely think are decent and enough to be starters. We kind of had that back in the day with Hesmer and Grunebaum. But it's been some time since I think we've really had 2 goalies on the roster at the same time who felt like they were starting caliber players. But yeah, I think Room is the obvious answer. If he's ready to go, I think you've got to play him. He's proven time and time again to be a big difference maker for this team defensively. And I'm not just even talking about stopping goals. I'm talking about organizationally, keeping the back line in check, keeping them positioned well, things like that. So I think that he brings a lot to the team that, Andrew Tarbell isn't necessarily also bringing, but, that Room is just more equipped and frankly just edges him out in slightly.
All right.
Wow, that was long for somebody that didn't have much to say.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anytime John wants to use a lot of words to validate my opinion, Brent, I will let that happen. So the Etienne or Diaz thing, which is also in our notes, listen, guys, I'm a Diaz boy. You know this. I'm number one Luis Diaz guy. I think he's got just like off the charts speed, and I love him starting because that means you just wear the shit out of the defense on his side. I've yet to see a defender who's consistently been able to keep up with him. That gets him into foul trouble. It gets him into yellow card trouble, and it just gives him tired legs. And then I love Etienne coming in and bringing a second dose, but I think he's more clinical. I think he's a better finisher at this point in his career. He feels just like an assassin coming off the bench. So that's my preferred starter on the right wing is Diaz, but I definitely want Etienne to become involved, especially if the game's a little stagnant and you need, just that little something, that press for a goal at the end.
Yeah, I mean that's my preferred way to use them. Also, I think that Diaz has been really good the last few games. I think you just got to stick with him. And while we're kind of discussing it, I just want to point out the hilarity of the fact that Derek Etienne has worked himself into a position where he is, depending on the day, arguably a starter for a team competing for MLS Cup, and he came from Cincinnati, who didn't think he was good enough to keep. So that, I think, says a lot about the shit show that is that fucking organization.
I mean, yeah, sure. Although they didn't pay $2 million of his salary, unfortunately. That would have been nice if they'd have done that. Okay, before we get into some score predictions.
Nope. Yeah, fuck you, Brent. You don't get to say anything. Fuck you.
Nope.
What? Okay.
Damn, dude. What is with you today?
Yeah.
All right. All things being equal.
Maybe Kristen is like just off to the side, butt naked, just wagging it at Drabby, and he's eager to get off the show.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, John.
Is she holding a picture of a horse?
She's got the horse mask on.
Let's see. Here's the point where we mute Brent. Okay, cool. So he wanted to talk about Diaz versus Etienne, but then he got fucking lippy, and so now nobody can hear him. Brent, would you like to come back? You can unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Now, all things being equal, I'm not really sure which one I would give the start to, but all things aren't really equal right now. Like the COVID protocols require the team to keep him calm. They're not allowed to do anything that would really raise his heart rate. So there's just no way that Derek Etienne is 90-minute match fit right now. I think you got to stick with Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming these guys aren't eating Cheetos and sitting on the couch when they're in the COVID protocol, but it's probably not far from that, and that is definitely a factor. Okay, Brent, now can we do score recaps or
no? Back to you, John. You had more things that you wanted to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just think about those for a minute here, and then I'll get back to you. No, I'm good. I'm fine.
All right. So before we do some score predictions, let's recap last week's prediction results. As a reminder, the result for the Crew is a 1-0 win versus the Revolution. Yours truly, the number one prediction boy for 2020, predicted a 2-1 win. That was not the case. I was wrong, but I was right about a win. So if we were keeping score, I'd have 5 points. Brent very foolishly predicted.
I don't know why you keep saying if we're keeping score when you have the total score right there.
I mean, I see them. I just have a feeling we're going to wind up tying at the end of this.
In the case of a tie, the third party wins, so thank you very much.
I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty sure that's not.
This is how ranked choice voting works. Like, you guys tie and I win.
Well, we don't do ranked choice voting in America, John. Sorry to tell you. Brent predicted a 3-2 win last week. He thought all the goals were coming when, in fact, just one goal was coming. But if we kept score, he'd get 5 more points and just barely managing to keep pace with me. Whereas John Zadar made up a rule last week, ladies and gentlemen, out of nowhere, came up with this. If you predict a tie, you get a butt fucking load of points. And if you predict a tie and it's not a tie, then you lose points. So he predicted a 2-2 tie, which is near as I can figure from all of his ramblings last week, means he lost 10 more points, which gives him...
that sounds right to me. I don't remember the rule.
Yeah. This says -20, but Brent, I believe it'd be -25, right? Because wasn't he -15, or was he only -10?
No, he was -10.
Okay, so he got one perfectly wrong.
Darby
and then
just
he got
never ceases to try to cheat me, huh?
I mean, you're at -20 points.
It's what he does, John. He's a cheater.
John,
he will always be a cheater.
John,
oh my God,
John, you're 35 points behind us. You cannot possibly catch up in the postseason prediction standings. If I
predict another draw and we get it, and then I'm right, that's 35 points.
What?
I don't think that's what the rule said.
Oh my God! All right, John, since your score prediction is irrelevant, why don't you pick first?
First of all, Darby, a lot of people are saying that my score prediction is one of the most relevant predictions being made today. And with that, I am going to call for a I don't know. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Crew victory.
All right, 2-1 victory for John. Brent, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You go first, Rebs.
Okay. I'm giving you the competitive advantage right
Do you
here.
guys want to both
I already have my score
DM
predicted,
me your scores?
so it doesn't matter what you say.
You already have it? Okay. I trust you. I believe Brent. He's too fucking honest to try and cheat this thing. I'm going to go... And actually, I bet we're actually predicting the same thing. I'm reaching back into the vaults. I'm going to predict a 3-1 Crew victory, just like...
Oh my God, that's what I was going to guess Brent was going to predict.
Yeah, that's
totally
God,
it. You would have been so close, but not quite there.
Yeah. All right, Brent.
I'm going out on a limb. I'm getting bold, and I'm going to predict a Trace Acero
3-0
Crew victory.
Oh, get the fuck out. Oh my God. All right.
Let's go, baby.
You'd
MLS
love
Cup
to see
2020.
it. You really would love to see it, wouldn't you?
Listen, I would love for Brent to be right in his prediction. I wouldn't even be mad.
A dominant shutout be just like sublime?
Oh God, it would be so good.
I would just start masturbating at the watch party I'm at, like, immediately.
Well, that implies that you wouldn't start masturbating anyway, regardless of result.
Okay, well, we didn't need to bring that up, Darby.
But I wanted to.
Well, you can bring it up on Saturday, too.
All right. Oh, I'm going to bring it up on Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Do we want to come up with a real quick tie-breaking procedure?
Yeah, we just covered it a minute ago. I'm the winner if you guys are tied.
We're not doing that. No.
Okay, we can do goal scorers.
Oh, shit. We got to
predict the goal scorers for your score lines.
Okay. I'm game. I mean, I don't know if this will actually help, but...
And then whoever gets the most right wins.
Okay. Brent, since I went first on the score predictions, you go first on your shooters or your goal scorers.
All right. Let's see. Zardes gets one. I'm going to say Diaz gets one this week.
Oh, wow. Diaz finally scores.
I think I've predicted that every other week for the past 3 months, but this is going to be the game. I need one more. Let's see. Icing on the cake. Pedro Sanch.
Sanch, I was going to say.
Pedro Sanch scoring a goal.
Got to be Sanch,
MLS
right?
Cup 2020.
Yeah, Sanch, you want me to never talk shit about you ever again? Yeah. Go win me a fucking MLS Cup, you piece of shit.
All right. I'm going with a Zardes brace and a Josh Williams finisher.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? John, do you want to just for the shit?
What about Seattle's goal?
Yeah, you said 3-1.
Yeah.
And you mentioned 2 Crew players, and that's it.
You got to pick Seattle's goal scorer too.
No, I don't.
Yeah, because
what the Crew scores.
No, we were predicting all the goal scorers.
Okay,
that's right.
So,
you have an extra chance to be closer to
you
right
have
than I
4
do.
chances to be right. There's no negative here if you're wrong. There's just right answers.
All right, fine. Rui Diaz, because that guy kind of scares the shit out of me.
That's the safe. That's the
easy
almost freebie. Yeah.
Yeah. John, do you want to predict some scores?
Wait.
Go for it.
But you still only said 2 Crew people.
No, he said Zardes is going to score twice.
Zardes is going to score twice. Yeah.
Zardes is going to start twice.
Listen, I drink. What do you want?
It now, or what's going on?
I'm having a stroke. It's fine.
I didn't hear you say twice.
Yeah, Zardes.
You win, Brent. He's stroking out.
Yep.
Nobody call the police. Nobody call the emergency services.
If Darby dies of COVID before the game, I automatically win.
Yeah, that's it.
No. All right, John. Who are your goal scorers in the game?
Oh man, for Seattle. I think it's gonna be Nicholas Ladero, and then
just so we're clear, this absolutely in no way has any impact.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
John cannot win.
This is his participation ribbon.
I get 5 points per correct prediction if I get the scoreline correct.
Oh boy, he's just making up all kinds of shit.
It's important that I win since I've been cheated out of the regular season trophy.
Oh my God.
And then Giassi Zardes gets one of the Crew goals, and I think Lucas. I can't believe nobody thinks Lucas is going to score a goal in this game.
Listen, he's an assist
big game,
baby.
big players. Nah, man, he was like literally centimeters away from scoring a goal of the year contender last game.
Yeah,
the man wants it. The man's a champion.
I mean, I respect the opinion, but he's got 4 assists in three games. He's going for that. Fuck it, I'm going to be like Guillermo and just put all the assists in this year.
Okay, because Darby's criticizing my picks, now I get 10 points per correction.
No,
that's not how this works.
I was trying to pick people that I thought Drabs wouldn't pick.
Yeah, to balance it out. Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, I think there's a good spread here. If you guys are tied, there's no way that you guys are still tied, right? No. Sure
I mean, like if it's a 1-0 win and Zardes is the only goal, that's about the only scenario. But that's I think that's a pretty good spread. We'll it's not that we're keeping score, so it doesn't matter. But if we were, there's probably some sort of tiebreaker there.
No, we are keeping score.
All right.
And
anyway,
you know as well as anybody that this counts more than the regular season prediction standings.
No.
Just like MLS Cup counts more than the Supporter Shield.
All right, Brent, did I forget anything? Is there anything else you would like to say, since you keep thinking that I'm omitting your opinions?
I mean, you have tried to omit my opinions multiple times.
I just feel like you've talked too much in this episode as it is.
Well, people say that every week, but it doesn't stop me. So,
all right. Well, in that case, I guess this is the part where we do that thing where I say a thing and then people whisper and stuff. So, for the next to last time this season, and all of Lord Guillermo's people said,
every correct player, John gets 15 points, and everybody else loses 5 points, and that's how it went.
No.
Also. So, is that enough dead air?
I think that's enough dead air.
Okay. So, hi, guys. If you're still listening to this, we have something to tell you. The three of us, for our various reasons, have decided that this will be the last season for us with ACES Radio. I know for me personally, it just feels like time. And hopefully we'd be going out on a positive note here in a week. Oh, shit. Jinx. Yeah. So that being said, we'll of course have a post MLS Cup wrap up. If you all have anything you want to share, anything you want to say, anything you want us to share on the air next week, please feel free to send it on Twitter. probably DMs are better just so that we can keep track of that shit because our mentions are full of, horse jokes and
it can also be longer that way too.
That's true. Yes. You don't have a character limit then.
Yeah.
Do you guys, do you want to say anything at this point?
No, I mean, I think we can do a more formal wrap up next week. But yeah, I mean, we've all discussed it as a group, and just feels like this is the a time where we all are happy with the way that we could potentially be ending it, and yeah. Ron?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add for right now.
They don't call him the best color man in the league for nothing there, John.
I'll have more to say next week. So tune in for the last ever episode of ACES Radio.
Oh my God. We're actually going to mean it. It's not possibly the last. It would be the last.
Well, you can always go back and re-listen.
That's true. Yeah.
Nothing on the internet. Nothing dies. Except for Darby.
Except for me. And my political career because of everything I've ever tweeted.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll see you all next week. All right.
Yep. Go Crew.
Go Crew. Brent, say go Crew.
No, I will not.
God damn it.
Damn it, Brent.
Go Crew.
Thank you.